dreadlocks usually happen when little pieces of mane kind of turn around each other, and then they get tangled in themselves. So I'm going to show everybody how to pick that out, and then we'll talk a little bit about how to prevent that and allow a horse's mane to get really long. So first off, the most important thing when you're taking a dreadlock out is that you don't just brush it out. So I need to untangle the bottom of this dreadlock and then untwist each of the segments. And when I'm all done, she shouldn't really have lost any mane by me pulling and brushing. There will be a chunk of mane that comes out just from natural hair that would have fallen out but couldn't because it was tangled in itself. So the first thing I need to do is just work on the very bottom of this dreadlock and just get the little bits of mane out of that tangle down there. So I'm actually going to use a hoof pick for this tool because all I really need to do is unstick that bottom one. So beyond that, I'll use baby oil, and then I have a few different types of brushes once I get. Here you can see I'm just starting at the very bottom of the dreadlock, picking out the knots, and then untwisting it all the way up after I get those very bottom knots done. And as you come up, you can start to see the individual pieces that are knotted together in the dreadlock. It's a lot like untangling Christmas lights. You can't just pull, you have to figure out where the knot comes from. Get that undone, and then you see the twists that actually made up the whole dreadlock. So here I just work my way down Legacy's mane. She had 3 pretty big ones that just had to be picked out by hand. And we spared you a lot of the details and sped it up because this whole process, start to finish, took about an hour. Now we've got all the dreadlocks out and we're just working in a detangler. Her mane was pretty dry from not having been brushed out or cared for quite a while, so she needed some baby oil in there for lubrication. And now we start the combing process, and it's really important here that you just take one piece, start at the very bottom, and gradually work your way out without rushing, without pulling, and most importantly, without just sticking that brush in and yanking through those tangles. So we really shouldn't lose much mane in the process if we treat each tangle like a project in and of itself and just gradually work our way up and then on to the next piece. We get a lot of questions about Legacy and the color of her mane. So Legacy is a sorrel, that's her body color, with a flaxen mane and tail. So you'll see a little bit more detail at the end with her braids, the color of her mane. But the definition of flaxen is 3 different colors, one of them being a lighter blonde color. So she has some light blonde, some red, and some dark brown that make up a really complex, beautiful kind of highlighted look. And now we're braiding. The most important part of braids is that they need to be taken out every week. So if braids aren't regularly taken out, brushed out, and put back again, they're more damaging to the mane than they are helpful. So if they're taken out and cared for, they'll help protect a mane and help it to grow nice and long and full without breaking and without losing a lot of hair. If they're not maintained, the very tops of the braids will actually pull and start ripping the mane out, and then the whole braid can dreadlock. So we'll need to maintain this about every week, and then her mane will get even thicker and longer and more beautiful. Here you see our before picture with her 3 big dreadlocks, and there's the after where you can really see that flaxen detail.